What's going on, Sumolings? Thank you so much for joining us for another product walkthrough webinar. I am Lindsay, and today I am joined by the team over at WebStarts. This is a website building platform that features everything you need to create your website, design a blog, and even open an online store, all without coding. It is available on AppSumo right now, starting at $59 for a lifetime deal. Before we dive into this tool, though, I'm just going to tell y'all a few quick things. The first is that if you want to tell us a little bit about your use case, a little bit about the website you're trying to launch, you can go ahead and do that in the chat room. If you want to ask any questions about the tool, the deal, how to get set up, go ahead and leave those questions in the Q&A box down below this video. We're going to circle back to those at the end of the walkthrough. The last thing is that there will be a replay of this available, so if you need to step out and watch this again later, you totally can. All right, that is enough of me. Hey, Adam, how are you doing?
Great, how are you?
I am doing very well. I am excited to have you here today. I'll pass this over to you for the walkthrough. Let me know when you're ready for questions. Sound good?
All right, I'm excited to be here. So if you're just tuning in, our product is WebStarts. It's an all-in-one website builder. WebStarts supports many use cases. So not only are you able to create a website, but you're also able to create a blog, an online store. You can use WebStarts to create landing pages. A lot of times I even use WebStarts to create product notes. Now, I won't bore you with all of the things that you're accustomed to with a website builder. You're probably familiar with that, but basically we solve all of the problems of allocating your own server and setting up IP addresses and domain names and things like that by creating an all-in-one solution that's hosted in the cloud. So with WebStarts, there's no software to download and install on your computer. Of course, you can just log in at our website, and from there you can make edits and changes to your website. And it's really quite simple. Now, a few things that make WebStarts different than some of the other website builders that you may have encountered. Number one is WebStarts uses a true drag and drop system with absolute positioning. That means that you can drag and drop your design elements wherever you want them to appear on your page. This is a little bit different than a lot of the other website builders that really just allow you to make edits and changes to an existing template where you can align things either left, center, or right. Maybe you can swap out some text or images. But with WebStarts, you can really create something truly unique that conveys the value of your products and services. And I think that's mainly what makes WebStarts different. Now, there are also some other things like the fact that you can integrate WebStarts or your website that you create with WebStarts with your online store, your blog, and those other things that you need to drive traffic to your website. And then there are also many, many applications integrated with WebStarts. For example, we have a great form builder that's tied into our email marketing app, and you can use those in conjunction with one another to create terrific sales funnels without having third-party integrations. All right, well, if you're watching this, let's go ahead and do a little screen share here and see how we can dive into WebStarts and take a closer look. I am going to select the screen that I want to share. Now, I'm already logged into my WebStarts account, and I have a lot of websites in this WebStarts account, and they're all represented by these thumbnails. This is the Manage Sites view, and you'll see this if you log into your account and you have many websites created in your account. You may just have one website created, and if that's the case, you're going to end up on what we call the dashboard. You can go to the dashboard just by going to any one of these sites and clicking select website. So the dashboard is kind of the center location for all of your site-wide settings and functions, and there are also a bunch of built-in apps, like for example, the store for this site is accessible here in the blog, email marketing for that specific site. Now, one of the great things about the deal that we're giving you with AppSumo is not only are we giving you a very generous plan in terms of the regular WebStarts account where you can create, if you're using 2 codes, you can create as many sites as you want and connect as many domain names as you want to those websites. And we're giving you plenty of bandwidth and storage to do that. but we're also giving you access to our designer platform. And we find that a lot of people that are interested in this deal can take advantage of the designer platform. You can find it by clicking the drop down up here in the top right and then clicking designer platform. And this is a place where you can use WebStarts to create your own web design agency. And so you can build websites for clients and you can charge them whatever you want. And because this deal is so generous, it's anything you charge them is pretty much going to be pure profit. But when you get into the designer platform, the first thing you'll do is create a client. So you click add client. Then you'll enter a client's name, their last name, email address, and a title. All of that needs to be unique. And you'll also be able to assign them a username and password that they'll then be able to use to log in to make edits and changes to their own website. Now, the designer platform isn't exactly a white label version of WebStarts, so we don't offer you the ability to sell custom subscriptions to your clients yet, but that's something that's on the roadmap for the future. What I want to show you next is clicking over on the settings tab, a few things that kind of make the designer platform valuable. And one is that you can give your clients a unique URL where they can log in, and that can be at your domain name, or it can just be a generic URL that is provided by default when you set up your designer platform account. Here you can see you can enter in your business name. So that would be your web design agency name. You can enter your phone number. And then down here, we have a couple of options. For example, you can choose whether or not to display your phone number. We give you that option because some designers would not rather be bothered all the time over the phone. Obviously, when you're building a website for a customer, if you've done that before, the customers tend to get into a lot of back and forth. And so one of the things that you're going to want to do as a designer is provide a nice tight channel to communicate with your customer. And so some people don't want to display their phone number. Here is another toggle button that says allow clients to change their template. When they change their template, they could lose their work. And so we give you the option to disable that if you don't want your clients to log in and accidentally change their template and use or lose, for example, the work that you created for them. Here you can upload a custom logo, the recommended size, 160 pixels by 35 pixels. And so all of that gives you the ability to create your own brand. So when I open up that in a tab, this would be your logo, and then your clients would log in with their username and password in this field. Now let me show you where you would set up that username and password. Going back over to clients and clicking on the ellipses, I click edit client, and there I can change the username or the password for the client that they're going to use to log in and make edits and changes to the website. Now, you may not want to create credentials for your client because if you're a designer and you're getting paid for custom work, you might not want your client in that website monkeying around, and that's totally fine as well. Another huge advantage of using the designer platform as compared to building a website for a client in the main WebStarts account is the ability to save the designs that you created as a template. So once you've created a website in your designer platform, you can then click the build a template button, give the template a title, and then copy any one of those designs that you already built or websites you already built in your WebStarts account. And you can even assign it a category and then select whether you want to share it with the public or not. Generally speaking, I recommend you select no for this, and then you click create, and that will create a template that you can then use to create a site time and time again. So let's show you how you would use that. Going back out to the clients section, I'm going to edit a site for a client. This is the design that I'm going to be working with. And if I click choose template, a little message is displayed saying, hey, if you start over with a new template, you're going to lose your work. So do keep that in mind. But under the My Template section is where I can actually select one of the websites that I built previously. And so I can start from that template. And that saves me so much time because I don't need to create a new web design from scratch for my clients. Let's go back to that previous view there in the dashboard. Okay, another thing that you can do in the designer platform is create a website for your agency. And that's what I've done here. So this specific website design that I created for my own web design agency. I actually created it for this webinar just as a demo. Let's go into the website and actually look at how to edit some of the pages and how the WebStarts editor works, because that's such a big part of the WebStarts experience. You can do that by hovering over the thumbnail to the site and clicking Edit Site. Here you can see that my page editor opens up and I have some tools here on the left and I've got some things going across the top. The first thing that I want to call your attention to is the ability to select the page that you would like to edit from the drop-down menu in the top left. You can also search for a page by its name. So for example, you can just begin typing the name of the page. That's helpful when you get a lot of pages in your account and you just want to find one very quickly. To create a new page, just click that drop down and click Add New Page. If you do that, you can start with either a blank page or you can copy an existing page. That works a lot like a template. So if you have a page layout that you really like and you want to use that over and over again and not have to start from scratch, then that is a great option for you. All right, let's take a look at how the actual page structure is laid out in WebStarts. Now you notice there's some dotted lines here going vertically down the page, and there's a dotted line going horizontally across the top of the page. WebStarts pages are divided into three primary sections. The top section, the section above this dotted line, we call that section the header. And when you place a design element like this icon right here of this cube into the header, it appears in the same location on each page of your website when the header is displayed. So you can select whether or not to display your header by going view and then unchecking the header and also the footer. But for the most part, you're going to have that header displayed. And in that header is going to be probably your logo, probably your business name, and your menu. And that's nice because when people are going from page to page on your website, like for example, from the home to the about to the portfolio, they're not going to be confused about where to find the navigation. And when you're creating the website, you're not meticulously trying to place those page tabs in that same location as you navigate from page to page. So it saves you a bit of time there, and it creates some continuity to the experience for those who are visiting your website. Below that dotted line, of course, is the main body section of your website. And that's usually where you're going to spend most of your time working. And if you've selected a template when you signed up or you created a new site within WebStarts, one of the easiest things to do is going to be just to select the design elements in the template, then click the edit icon next to them, and then just simply change the content out. So for example, if you want this text that reads bold designs to say something else, you can just select it and type over it. And then of course, when you have a specific type of content, in this case, text, you have the options to for formatting the text. So you can pretty much do all the things you'd come to expect with text. Like for example, adjust the font size, adjust the font. You can, change the color, create a link from it, all of these different use cases, of course. All right. Down here at the very bottom of the page is what we call the footer, and that's the section below this dotted line. It works just like the header. Things that you drag into the footer appear at the bottom of each page of your website. So here I have this little tagline that I created, and I want to drag it into my footer. Now notice when I drag it down to the bottom of my body, this little tab comes up that says add to footer. You're going to want to click that to jump it into the footer. And you can tell when elements are in the header or footer because instead of the blue selection box, they have a green selection box. So if I was to select something in my body, like this gallery, you can see it has a blue selection box. And when I select something in the header or footer, it has a green selection box, indicating that it's going to appear in that same location on each page of my website. Let's take a look at some of the other design elements that you can work with in WebStarts on your page. So one of the design elements that you're going to be working with are images, of course. And this iPhone wireframe is an image. I uploaded that image to my site earlier, and you can swap out or edit that image just by selecting it and clicking the edit option. This opens up the Images tab in what we call the File Manager. The File Manager is the place that you store all of your files in the cloud. So here are some images that I've already uploaded to my File Manager earlier. So if I want to reuse those or use those, I just select them and then click Insert File. It'll replace the iPhone image that I just selected a moment ago. Now, you're probably going to want to upload some of your own images from your local computer. And to do that, just click this button and then select the images that you would like to upload from your local computer. There are times when maybe you don't have any images uploaded, or maybe you have some uploaded and you have some on your local computer, but you want to find some additional stock photos. We have that option available under the Image Search tab. Here you can search by keyword for free stock photos, or you can search by category. There's a thumbnail here with the name of each category in the top left. So for example, if I wanted to find all of these women with beautiful hair, I could click on this category that we call hair. Now, another way that you can search is by color. So if I click search by color, I can search by a color that I'm using on my site. And here I have my site colors, and I'll get into how to change those in just a moment. I can select one of the colors, and then I can get a bunch of stock photos that already have that hue in them. All right, so let's go ahead and close out of the File Manager. Now, the File Manager is going to display different things based on the type of file that you selected. We use the option for images, but you can upload things like PDFs, and you can upload things like videos, and you can find all of those in the left sidebar when you click Add. So down here, for example, if I wanted to add a document to my website, I could upload a PDF file, and then I could place that on my website, and it will appear in an iframe. Okay, there are a ton of other design elements you can add to your pages as well. And when you add them, there are two ways that you can do it. One is you can click to select the element that you want to add, and it will randomly drop up here on the top of your page. Or you can drag that element over and position it where you would like it to be displayed. All very easy to do and all very handy. Let's take a look at some of these other elements. So down here, if I was to drag that document into place, then I get this placeholder that indicates that it's a PDF, and then I would click the edit icon and select a PDF if I had uploaded one from my local computer. Now I don't have any, and of course you can always remove design elements from your page by selecting them and then clicking the X to remove them. Just going through all of these different elements that you can add to your page, it's really quite a number of them. You can add galleries, so you can have things like I've displayed down here at the bottom of my page. You can have slideshows, which are really nice. And then some of the better features of WebStarts are some of the built-in apps, like for example, the full-on form builder. Now, at the beginning, I told you that I created this website for my own design agency, and I'm going to show you how you can use that website to create a little sales funnel using a contact form. So I've already done that, and I named this page questionnaire. So I'm going to go to this page that I created earlier called questionnaire. And on that page, I placed this form. And this is the form that I give people when I'm first starting out and I'm going to build a website for them. It asks them some basic information like their name, their business name, their email address, and then it asks them like what type of pages do they anticipate needing? Do they have a logo? Do they have a color scheme? Are there some websites that they found out there that are inspirational? But I created this custom form just by clicking add and then choosing the contact form option right here. And then placing it on my page. Now you can edit that form as well just by clicking to select it and then clicking the edit option. And here you can see all of the different fields you can add to your form and how you can rearrange those forms. So you can do everything from add these single line fields that ask for basic information like names to adding checkboxes and multiple choice and drop downs and all of those things. And one of the nice things is when you're done, you can come over here, you can click on settings and you can change the email address where that form data is sent to once somebody submits it. And you can even assign it to a mailing list that you might have already created in the email marketing app within the WebStarts system. That will allow you to automatically begin sending regularly scheduled emails as follow-ups to your prospects, as well as broadcast emails, which is great if you have a sale or promotion that you want to do. Okay. Once you've made the changes to your form fields, you can just click update form. It will update your form. I'm not going to do that for this demo video. All right, so we've gotten pretty far into this, and there are some obvious things that I didn't cover. For example, when you make a change to your page, just click save, and once you click save, it's going to be automatically published to the web. You can see what that looks like by clicking view site, so that's very handy. One of the things about WebStarts is that we give you the option to create a version of your website, both for desktop as well as mobile. Sometimes when you're creating a website for a mobile phone, you probably don't want to display everything in its full splendor the way that you do on a desktop because you have so much more screen real estate. And if you want to create a mobile specific design, click on the mobile icon up here on the right. And to do that, you have to first add your elements in the desktop view. And as you add those elements, they appear under this tab called Hidden. And then you'll redrag those elements into the places that you want them to appear in your mobile specific design. And then, of course, if you had a design element that was displayed on your mobile viewport and you wanted to hide it, you could just click the hide icon. It will jump back over here to the hidden section. Now, once you've created this very beautiful and unique layout that will appear on a mobile device, you're going to want to come down here and click settings and make sure that you enable the option to display a mobile view. That's an option because some people still prefer to show their desktop view, whether their site visitor is on a desktop or mobile device. Let me return to the desktop view by clicking that icon. And once you've created all of your website and you've built it and you've got it just the way that you want it like this, what you're going to want to do is go back out to the dashboard and you're going to want to add a domain name to it. And you can do that just by clicking the add domain button. You can either register a new domain name. If you do that, you're registering with us. It's $29 a year. We do know there are cheaper places to register a domain name, but we really help you solve all of the scenarios that come up with a domain name, and that takes time and that takes expertise. And we don't feel like cheapening ourselves to try to create a loss leader with a domain name like some of the other companies. If you just want to go buy the cheapest domain name, go register it at another company and just come over to this field and then select the option you already have a domain name. One thing that works so much better if you just register a domain name with WebStarts and pay the $29 is that that domain name automatically starts working with the site in about 30 seconds. Whereas if you register a domain name with another service and then you connect it to your WebStarts website, you're going to need to either change the DNS to use ns1.webstarts.com, which is our web servers, or add our IP address to the A record. And some of that takes a little bit of time and it can be a little bit more technical. We do help you navigate through that if it's something that you get stuck on. All right, so far I've covered quite a bit of the things. Most of these things are centered around the designer platform, but let's take a look at some of the apps and how I've used those in my regular WebStarts section. So I'm going to come back out here. I'm going to go to my all sites view or my managed sites view, and I'm going to find a store that I'd worked on. I'm just going to select it right here. So now I'm in the dashboard for the store. You can see that I've enabled the store and that gray panel has now turned to blue. When I click on the store app, it's going to open up the managed store modal or managed store view. And the products tab is going to be selected by default. If you don't have any products, it's going to show a button that says create first product or add first product. You can add products really easily just by clicking add product. And then you give your product a title, a description. You can tag it so that it can get found in searches. You can add multiple images for your product. You can add videos. And of course, you can assign it a price. And then there are a lot of options like the ability to charge tax for a specific product. You can create search engine friendly URL slugs, which are just URLs that have the keywords for the products you're selling. You can assign those products categories as well. So you can create categories under the categories tab and then assign your products to a specific category. There are a ton of options for shipping. You can hide your product from a store catalog if you want to sell it for a different price in a special event. And then under the variants tab, you can create multiple variants. So you can sell products in various sizes and colors and materials and other options. Inventory management allows you to manage the quantity or stock on hand and then gives you the option whether or not you want to complete a sale depending on the stock on hand, or whether you want to prevent somebody from making a purchase if, for example, you don't have any product in stock. Digital delivery is perfect if you're selling an ebook or an MP3 or a video or some other digital file. You can provide some instructions along with a link where they can download it after the purchase. When you're ready to create your product, just click create, and then you'll return to that products view and you'll see a list of all of the products that you've created. You can view the product specific pages at any time by clicking the view icon. So here, for example, you can see this men's t-shirt that I created. Over here on the left side, let's quickly move through the various categories or various tabs. The first one is categories. This is where you can just create categories for the different types of things you're selling. The orders tab will show you orders that came in. I don't have any orders. I'm going to see if I can show you an order by selecting a broader date range. So here you can see that you have your orders that came in. And what's nice is that you can add a tracking code to your order. And so when you ship it, put in your tracking code, and email goes straight to your purchaser. And that way they're not emailing you saying, hey, where's my package? You can also click view and view all of the details for a specific order that was placed. So all of that is very handy. Reports just gives you an idea of the products that you sold and the sales that you've made. Coupons is another very popular item. You can add coupon codes. A lot of people like to do that for promotional reasons. You can do codes that give a discount in either a preset amount or a percentage, or a code can be used to assign free shipping. You can create whatever code you want. Just type it into this field, and then you can say, for example, the amount of discount you want to provide. And then you can even specify if you want this product or code to apply to just specific products or a specific time. For example, if you want it to expire after so many days go by or so many uses. And the same thing with the percentage and the free shipping as well. And then, of course, you can manage all of your codes right here. Under the customers tab, you'll find all the information about your customers. You can click view, and then you can find things like their orders, like what we looked at earlier. Shipping is great because you can create all kinds of shipping rules. So I can have different shipping rules for people that I'm shipping to in the United States, or whether I'm shipping to Alaska and Hawaii or Canada or some other place in the world. That's very helpful because obviously it's a lot cheaper to ship from somewhere in the United States to another place in the United States than, let's say, from the United States to somewhere like Japan. But you can create specific shipping rules depending on where the person you're shipping to is from and where you're shipping from as well. And likewise, you can create tax rules depending on the various regions and localities. Under the settings tab, you'll find a place that you can add your store name, an email address where you'll receive the emails related to the store. For example, when somebody places an order, you can enter your phone number and you can upload a specific logo for your store. This is helpful because the checkout page is somewhat generic, and by putting in your store name and your logo, the checkout page will reflect your brand. We make the checkout page for your purchasers a little bit generic because we find that if we make those checkout pages overly creative, then they don't convert as well. So that's actually just helping give some guidelines to you to get the best results out of your store. You can set your time zone as well as your measurement. So you can use the imperial measurement system or metric. Over here, payment processor, by default, you're going to be set up with WePay. So that's one of the differences between WebStarts and a lot of other online store builders is that we allow you to immediately begin accepting credit card payments from the moment that you sign up for the store. And we do that with a partnership through WePay, powered by Chase Bank. They set that up in the background. An email goes out asking the person who set up the store to confirm their bank details so they know where to deposit the money. And then you can start taking transactions immediately. There's no long underwriting process. You can also use Stripe and authorize.net. And of course, you can select whether or not you want to allow PayPal. And you can even take comments at checkout. So if you want somebody to put in a note when they're placing an order, they can do that as well. Be sure to click update whenever you're making updates or changes to any part of your store settings. There's also a place here where you can toggle between live and test mode. You probably want to test your store out before taking it live to the public. So you can put it in test mode. Just do note that if you forget it's in test mode and you start taking live transactions and shipping products, you're not going to have collected real money for those products. So make sure you put it back into live mode if you select the option to do that. Now, there are some places that you can change the look of your store, but you do that in the WebStarts page editor. So let's close out of the manage store view and let's take a look at how we change the way that our store pages look. So if I go to my site and I click on store, here I have my store page, and then this is called the product page. And you can see that I can change some of the appearance settings for that by clicking edit site and then selecting those pages from the drop down in the editor view. So for example, I had the store page. That's where I had all of these photos of the different products that I'm selling. And I can click on that store page widget and I can click on settings. And here I can do things like adjust the number of products that I'm willing to show. The number of columns that I'm willing to show products, the number of rows I'm willing to show products. I can change the image scaling. So if I have I want to crop those images or make them fit, I can select between those options. I have the ability to change the aspect ratio. So if I'm selling products that are really wide versus ones that are very tall, I can play with that to make sure that I'm displaying the products in the best possible view. And then down here, I have some other options, like I can select to show the categories either in the sidebar or a drop down. The drop down is handy if you have a ton of categories and somebody's on their mobile device. They're not going to necessarily be able to see all of those, or they're going to have to scroll down a lot of categories to get to your products if they have the sidebar option selected. Also, you can select whether or not you even want to show things like the search box or the sorting options just by checking and unchecking them. There are also some style options that you'll find. For example, you can change the font size, some of the color schemes and things like that. If you want to edit the content, when you click edit, that opens back up the manage store modal. Let's go to the product page and take a look at that, because each one of these pages for your store are going to have a little bit different settings. Once again, just clicking to select the store widget and then clicking the settings icon, I have some of those settings here. One that I want to point out, though, is called the show sidebar. And what that is, it allows somebody to add a product to their cart if they're purchasing from your store and then continue shopping without navigating away to the cart view. So some people run a store where they want to allow somebody to add an item to their cart and then they immediately want to show them their cart view. And there are other people that are running stores that just want people to stay on their product page or catalog page. So when they click add to cart, it just adds it to the cart, and then they can come back and view what's in their cart when they decide to later. So those are all options that we provide, and there's really just a ton of them. And you can go right down here. We also have things like the ability to customize the store login page. This is another feature of WebStarts that I love. It gives you the ability to make it easy for the people who are purchasing from your store to buy from you again and again, because they can save their shipping and payment information, just like all of the big stores that you see. And this is the page where a returning shopper can come back and log in. So you can customize that page a little bit. The account page is the page that they see after they're logged in. So if one of your customers comes back and they want to see the status of one of their orders or when a product shipped, they can log in and see all of that in WebStarts as well. So there are really so many options. I can't possibly cover them all in this short webinar because WebStarts does so much. It really does just about anything that you could possibly imagine. In just a minute, I'm going to get to some of these questions that are coming in. I know that I've been going a little bit longer than the half hour or so, but I just want to cover the blog app as well real quick, and then we'll get into those questions. So going back out to the dashboard, I click on the blog app. The blog app is kind of like your CMS or content management system. Now, it's not going to do all the things that WordPress does, but it's not nearly as complicated as WordPress. So you can do the things that are important very easy and quickly with little complication. And so it does most of the stuff that WordPress can do very easily. Like, for example, you can create a post very easily. You give it a name, you can give it an author, you can schedule a time for that post to come out. You can click up here, you can add your SEO settings, and then you can write your story right here. Now, we don't provide you a full WYSIWYG with all the formatting options, but we do display the ones that are most important when you drop your cursor into the text area. So for example, you can add an image to your blog post, you can add a video to your blog post, you can do code snippets, and for some reason we allow emojis, but anyway, just a fun thing that we allow on the side. Another thing is you can select whether or not you want to assign a post to a category or create a category or display categories. Bottom line is that once you've created your blog posts and you have your blog, you're going to edit the way those look the same way you did with the store. So you're going to go back into the page editor and you're going to find the blog and blog post pages. In the page editor, you're going to select them, click on the widget, and then there you'll have some settings and style options for that as well. All right, so many other things that I haven't covered. I'm going to jump into the questions just so that we can get some of that going. So let's go ahead and do that now.
All right. Sumolings, if you have any more questions that you want to put in the Q&A box, go for it. Christina asks, do we pay for the domain name or is the cost included in the purchase price?
Okay, that's a great question. What we've done for the deal with AppSumo is we are allowing you to connect, well, with the single code, we're allowing you to connect, I think, up to 5 domain names. Is that right? 5 domain names to your websites without charging you. Now, you'll have to have registered those domain names somewhere, and you can connect them to WebStarts without charging. If you have the 2 code stack, you can connect as many domain names as you want. But neither of those options actually make us the registrar of your domain name. If you want to register a new domain name through the WebStarts platform, that costs you $29 per year per domain name. I hope that answers your question.
Cool, thank you. Can I add a description and reviews to the product?
A description and reviews to the store product. That is something that is on our roadmap, the ability to add reviews for the product. You can certainly add a description. That was under the store app, under the products tab. The next field down below the title is where you can put the description. And one thing I didn't show was that there are some rich format options for the descriptions. So you can do things like italic and bold and colors, stuff like that.
Cool. Can I use embed codes in the store product page?
Another great question there. Truthfully, I have to look at that because I know we discussed it, but I don't remember where we left off on that. So that might be something that we have coming down the pipeline, or it might be working. I'm going to say that it's not in there right now. So we'll be sure to put that on the feature request list.
Cool. Is privacy protection extra or included with the WebStarts domain registry?
When you register a domain name with this AppSumo deal, we're already giving you, well, okay, right, the privacy protection. So we're talking about essentially anonymizing your registration. So that is not included when you register your domain name. That is a little box you have to check, and you do pay, I think, like $10 extra per year for that.
Cool. Once an agency adds their domain to the designer platform, how do they remove it? If I want to keep my DNS with my current provider, is there a way I can add a subdomain CNAME record instead of moving my existing DNS to WebStarts?
Yeah, this again is a great question and one that you should be able to do. I think it's kind of a 2-part question. One is, can you remove your domain to the website? And of course you can do that. If you want to create a CNAME, I believe the only way you can do that is to use our WebStarts DNS, because we need to be able to know where to route that subdomain. I hope that makes sense to you. So you would change you could keep your registrar, but you have to update your DNS with your registrar to ns1.webstarts.com and ns2.webstarts.com. And then if you do that, you can go into WebStarts and create that CNAME under the managed domains section.
Cool. When I add a client to the designer platform, will she get a welcome email from WebStarts? Right now, she receives a we pay welcome email instead of credentials to their website. What's
Right. So another good question. You shouldn't be receiving that. She shouldn't be receiving that confirmation email. That was actually a bug that had specifically to do with the AppSumo deal stack. Sometimes when the AppSumo deal stack is a special plan, and sometimes when we create these special plans, there are little things that get overlooked, like that email that goes out. So we disabled that at this point. So it shouldn't be going out to them, and it's not required to confirm that anyway. That's for your store, so that you can provide the information, the banking details, and know where to deposit your money once you start accepting purchases. There's no email that goes out with their credentials. You have to manage that. The designer platform is built based on the assumption that you are going to control the client flow and not us. So you may not want your client to have access to edit their own website, because that could take away business from you, or it could mess up the hard work that you put in on your client's behalf. So we try to put the ball in your hands, so to speak, and not assume that we're going to let the client just jump in there without having anything to do with you. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Is it possible to remove the designer platform logo from the designer platform so that clients don't see it?
The designer platform logo, I know that was a little confusing in my demo. That's actually just the logo that I created for the demo. So that wouldn't actually be something that would be displayed by default. Your logo would be displayed by default.
Sweet. All right. Can I add GIFs and videos to each product page?
Yeah, absolutely. There are different ways that you could do that, I suppose. If you're talking about in the store, I know I moved through it very quickly, but if you click on the products tab, there's a place where you can upload the videos. So if you've shopped on Amazon, which most of us have, you'll notice that they have sometimes like 6 photos of different things, and then there'll be a little video at the end. You can do something like that in WebStarts. But conversely, if you're just saying, hey, I want to create a really great landing page and I want to have the focus be a video for a product, you can just create a page in WebStarts with a regular video player right on the page as well.
Awesome. Is the store fully mobile friendly?
The store is fully mobile friendly. There's nothing you need to do to make the store mobile friendly. That automatically adjusts depending on the viewport. So if somebody's on a desktop, they see the desktop version. If they're on the mobile, they see the mobile version.
Nice. Can buttons like add to cart be made in Spanish or other languages?
Well, currently the best way to support multiple languages with WebStarts is to install the Google Translate extension in Chrome. We don't have native translations available right now. We're strictly in English. I think part of that is just because, one is because the biggest demand, of course, is for English, but 2 is because there's not that much to translate. But thank you.
All right. Is there a planned integration with Zapier?
Zapier? Planned integration with Zapier. So the way that Zapier works, it varies, but you can utilize a Zapier integration now if you utilize the email transmission portion of Zapier. So Zapier is obviously for automation. If you want to create an event or trigger an event, let's say it's based on a sale in your store. You take an order. You're going to get an email notification saying you just got an order. you can send that email notification to Zapier to trigger another event. So it currently works to some capacity. We probably don't have a specific Zapier API integration on the horizon. So I wouldn't look for a vast array of tools built around the Zapier integration.
Cool. What about any plans to add a webhook?
We don't have any plans to add a webhook right now. We do understand that integrations are something that people like and that people need, but there's kind of two conflicting philosophies, and we need to kind of be in one camp. And our camp has been to try to not require you to have 6 different places to manage a subscription and not have, 5 different places to manage your customer data and all these things, but rather just put it all into one platform, WebStarts, and allow you to use all of that data in the ways that are most common. For example, sending follow-up emails through our email marketing app, sending broadcast emails, allowing your customers to log back into your store after they made a purchase with their safe shipping and payment information, that kind of thing.
Awesome. Can you go over the email offer?
The email offer. Okay, I'm going to assume that you're talking about the emails that are included with the deal. So what we do with this deal is that we're giving, I think with the single code, we're giving 5 email addresses, and the 2 code stack, we're doing 10 email addresses. These are email addresses that can match the domain name that you connect to the platform. So for example, you would say, if I wanted to add them at mydomainname.com, I could create that using WebStarts. I could do up to 5 of them. So I could have like 5 different usernames with the single stack and 10 with the other. And then those can be distributed anywhere throughout the websites you create. So if you wanted 1 email address for each website, you could do that as well. Now I know a lot of people, okay, because I think you're getting to this question, are like, well, I want more email addresses because I'm going to build 1,000 websites with your company, and you're really going to make me pay for doing this deal because I know I'm giving away so much. The reason we don't do that is basically this: on the back end, there's a hard cost involved with hosting each one of those secure emails, and we couldn't afford to just go crazy with the unlimited there, especially in conjunction with the fact that we went crazy and gave essentially unlimited storage with the 2-stack code. So, I had to draw a line somewhere, but you can buy more emails. They're basically like $1 a month in a bundle. So they're pretty cheap.
Sweet. Thank you. And yeah, I know. They do appreciate the storage thing though, I'm sure.
They're going nuts for that because they're like, well, wait a minute, I'm going to run this business into the ground. Just kidding. It's fine. We know not everybody's going to use all that storage. I mean, you don't need 100 gigabytes to build the average website. It takes like 20 to 30
people are just really ambitious.
Megabytes. So. Yeah, they just like the idea that they have it.
Yeah. Sumolings, if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the Q&A box, not the chat room. This is where I'm grabbing them from. All right. Will you ever allow strips or block containers to create and drag in the editor?
Great question. First of all, we do allow strips right now. I didn't show that in the demo because I had 10,000 things to cover in 30 minutes. But if you click add and you select shapes and you drag a square to the page and then you just click the full width icon, it will do it. The same thing with a photo or a gallery or a slideshow. So basically a lot of those are already in there. Now on our roadmap, we have a lot more of those design elements coming down the pipeline. For example, the ability to do that full width strip with multiple column layouts and things like that. What that will really do for you is it will allow this absolute position drag and drop editor to create a responsive design, which I know is going to be a big question and demand for people. So,
great. How does the membership widget work?
The membership widget in its current state works like this. You select a page on your website where you would like the login and sign up widget to be displayed. you drag it where you would like it to be displayed on the page. I usually recommend in the header section so that it's in the same place on each page of your website. And then you go through a brief series of questions and you answer those questions depending on things like, is this page a page that you want to be accessible to members only? So like for, you know, if you're on a page and you only want it to be accessible for members, you would say yes. And if you want that page to be accessible by the general public and just have the widget on that page, then you would say no. And then it asks you also like whether you want to manually approve those members or automatically approve them, because some people really don't care if they just want people to sign up, become a member and approve them and let them log in. Other people really want to take a look at who they're allowing into these, you know, membership password protected pages. Once you set up the widget on the page and save it, you can manage things like the usernames and passwords and approve people and deactivate their memberships and all that stuff under the site members app panel on the dashboard. Okay, so it's kind of like two components working together there, but that's pretty much it.
How are backups handled? And additionally, can we do our own backups?
What was the last part of that question?
Can we do our own backups?
Can you do your own backups? Okay, right. So great questions. Well, our backups are taken, we take a snapshot once per day. So with the backups, you're going to essentially be able to go up to 24 hours back in time if you have a catastrophic failure. If you want to specify a point in time, you need to go into the backup app and specify that point in time. And that way you will always be able to know your last backup. And you can also see your different revisions. So basically you can, you know, intentionally say, this is the backup I want. But if you do nothing, we're taking a snapshot so that you know, in case of disaster, that you can recover it. So that's how the backups work. Now, as far as exporting, which I think is a big question everybody has, and that's what, can we make our own backups? We're not currently allowing the sites built on the platform to be exported, but we have in the past, and we can bring it back. And I do think we'll bring it back for the designer platform. And I'm going to explain that because I think that's a question a lot of people had. When you export the site normally in the WebStarts account, it usually means you're leaving our company. And then when you leave, we found that most of the people that are leaving are looking to go to the cheapest $3 a month host they could find online. And then because they wanted to find the cheapest solution possible. And so then they expected us to give our world-class, we care about you, you know, support to help them leave us for a much cheap, well, not a much cheaper because we're already very affordable, but the cheapest solution on the web. And we found that to be a conflict of interest. I mean, we don't, and awkward because usually those people were less tech savvy as well. So we took away that ability to export because we were like, you know what, you're on our platform, you like our platform, we provide you excellent service, we provide you so much flexibility, you know, this is the place that we want to be in. We don't want to have that kind of awkward conversation like, well, you're not really with us anymore as soon as you know, so we're not going to help you get your website built with a different company. That doesn't really behoove us. And but I do think that designers are savvy enough to know, hey, here are my files, they can take it, and if they go set it up somewhere else, then great. But because it's drag and drop, there's also, it's not as straightforward as just exporting an HTML page. So I do want to make that note.
Cool, thank you. How do I collect my customer shipping information?
You collect your customer's shipping information at checkout. So when you build a store, I'm assuming that you're talking about if you're selling products online through a store. And if you're selling products online through a store, the checkout page is going to ask for the shipping information. You might be a little bit confused because if you didn't set up any shipping rules, then the page doesn't know necessarily what shipping information to ask for. I think you may be seeing that possibly is why you're asking that question. So if that's the case, make sure you go into the store first and set up a shipping rule, at least some sort of shipping rule. I think we have a default one in there, but it sounds like maybe that was deleted or something.
Thank you. How does the chat widget operate?
Chat widget is very straightforward. It's fairly basic for a chat widget because nowadays you can get a robo chat and program 5,000 different answers to common questions into that. And you can do all kinds of tracking and customization. Ours is pretty straightforward. It's just you enable the chat. It opens up what we call the conversation window. You can click a toggle to say you're online. Okay. If you have chat enabled and the toggle is in the off position, and they click on the chat icon on your website, they're going to be prompted to send you a message. Okay, just like Intercom or a lot of the very, similar, type products, Drift, Intercom, that kind of thing. If you have the toggle in the on position, that means you're there and you're going to respond just like a live chat. And so they're going to type and you're going to get on the back end a little notification that says, oh, hey, somebody's asking a question. You'll type back and that'll appear on your website.
Great, thank you. Heads up, Sumolings, we do have a lot of questions here in the Q&A box. We're probably not going to be able to get through all of them today. I'm going to be prioritizing the most popular ones, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. SEO, can we add website location on the platform?
Website location, was that the question?
Yeah.
If you mean natively in the browser to detect, then no. And I think we try to avoid that because we're kind of privacy advocates. So we don't try not to give you do too many things in the background. Let's just put it that way. And speaking to the questions, go to the deal page and under the questions and answer section, go through there because I've answered pretty much every question imaginable the last few days. So if we don't have time, please go there and check that out.
Awesome. Is there a feature to copy a page template within a website so pages are uniform?
Great question. There's not currently the ability to create a page template that is on the roadmap. We will have that in the future, but you can copy an existing page of your site. So if you created a great layout, you like the layout of the page, you don't want to start from scratch on the next page, just copy that existing page, make a few edits and changes to it, and you're good to go.
Awesome. Are you able to have multiple levels in the membership platform?
Not currently. That's something that's on our feature request list. It hasn't currently made the roadmap, but we know what you'd like to do there. And it is something we hope to get to eventually.
Can I add team members to the designer platform?
Currently, there's no permission levels that can be set at the designer platform. That is on the roadmap. We're hoping the next quarter.
Do we need SMTP to send email or is that included?
You don't need SMTP to send email. When you set up one of those email boxes, you're actually going to get a webmail account. And that webmail is full featured. It's going to be kind of like a Gmail, but maybe, not as, I don't know what I'm going to say. It's just got a different UI, different interface. But then you will also get instructions to set that up on your favorite email client, whether that be something like a Microsoft Outlook or on your Apple device or Android device as well.
Great. I'm not clear on what the 10 emails includes. Are you replacing Gmail?
Yeah, I mean, basically you're replacing Gmail. I mean, the problem with Gmail is this. If I go into a business meeting and I slam down my business card and it says, email abarger@gmail.com, which is my Gmail. So if you want to spam me, there you go. If I put that down, then somebody goes, well, should I take this guy serious? I thought he said he was with WebStarts.com. I mean, his email is a free email address. These emails are designed to, replace that and give you something, on your own domain name. And so it is a full featured email. When you get in the back, you can do just about everything you can in Gmail. You can search through the emails. You can, there's a calendar, tie-in, things like that. And it's all in the webmail platform that we provide. We provide a link to that when you log in and set up that email.
All right. How many company contacts are we allowed for each website? And is there a cost to add more?
There's no limit to the number of contacts as far as the contacts app. So you can build this like subscriber base as large as you want if we're strictly talking contacts. But If you're talking about email marketing subscribers, the deal comes with 500 contacts. And after that, you're basically going to pay about $10 per month for every 2,500 contacts up to 10,000. Once you go over 10,000 contacts, we really want you to email us. Of course, we do all that because we need to control spam, you know, so we're just metering that.
All right. How secure is our website?
1,000%. It's just, your website is completely secure. I mean, we use AWS, you know, Amazon on the back end. So I think, you know, as far as having the power of, you know, Amazon and their engineers and their reputation on the back, that's a positive. I'm not big on giving another thing to Amazon, but I am a big on that they probably have the most experience in this sector. So your websites are 100% secure. All of your passwords are hashed, so we don't know your password. They're encrypted. So if you lose your password, you have to reset it. We can't give you your password. So they're pretty secure. I mean, of course, you can mess that up, but on our end, we're doing all right.
If your main domain is hosted with another provider and you just want to create a store, can you add a subdomain to WebStart?
Your main, and you just want to add a store. Again, I think you would have to bring your DNS over to us, and you may, I mean, that works for people, but you know, at that point, we're just a better solution all the way around. So I don't know why you'd stay where you're at.
Should I be uploading an optimized image or will WebStarts do it automatically for me?
WebStarts optimizes images automatically. I always forget to mention that. So we have a compression when you upload those images that will give you the highest quality image in as lossless as possible, you know, but compressed. Yeah. So we do that.
Love it. Alfredo says, this sounds like a great website builder. Do you have updated tutorials to figure it all out? And if so, where?
Yeah, youtube.com/webstarts. You can see all kinds of videos, and I pump those things out all the time. Although this AppSumo deal's kind of got me a little bit behind schedule because I put so much attention into it, but that's a great resource. We try to create videos to go with every help document that we create. And we try to stay on top of our help documentation, but every once in a while you might run into one where the UI changed a little bit because we're also constantly improving the product.
All right, yeah. Do you offer custom DNS options for agencies?
We do. I mean, essentially, we offer you everything that a domain registrar offers. I do think that there's a couple of things that we can do on the back end if you email support, but we don't give you access to because for various security reasons or to provide an expected user experience. Let's put it that way. But yeah, we do everything. Yeah.
What are the transaction charges with WePay through WebStarts if it's any different than?
Yeah. When you take a credit card payment with WePay out of the box, they're charging you 2.9% and 30 cents per transaction. That's pretty standard if you look at Stripe or PayPal.
Yeah. Is the customer able to use Square for checkout?
We don't currently have a Square integration, but it is on a list somewhere. Like a lot of things, it's on a list somewhere. And we chose not to do that because you know what? Square bought Weebly. Weebly is our competitor, to be honest with you. So I just chose not to integrate that.
Cool. What is the email platform for WebStarts? Is it general open source interface or WebTrends proprietary email client?
I'm going to assume again we're talking about the webmail hosted, you know, like the email you send, not the email marketing, because I want to make sure we're talking about the right thing. Yeah, I mean it's a webmail client, so you have all of the you know, same capability that you would with any email address, whether it be like a hosted. Earlier I was rambling on about Gmail's hosted deal. They charge you like $5 per email address per month. So I mean, it's not like they're free to get the same thing. I mean, so yeah, we do it all. We do all that and charge less. Yeah, and it's better.
All right.
And then we don't sell your information or give it away to the government. So there you go.
Oh,
All private and stuff.
how long is the chat history saved?
The chat history is saved, you know, from my understanding, saved in, forever. I mean, you can get like the chat you're having with your customer on your page. Yeah, you go in the conversation. I think you just scroll indefinitely and just Ajax just keeps feeding it. Probably break our database if you scroll. I don't know. It saves it all.
Amazing. Can somebody, okay, they want to know if they can embed like a privacy policy thing into.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is GDPR. What is it called? The little pop up at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
There's like 10,000 of these little code snippets you can get online to add for free. So I put it on a list to things to add, but why build our own when there's like 10,000 that will just do it for free. So if you just type in GDPR, generator in Google and get a code snippet, you can just drop it in there, go open up the page, go edit site, then click on edit HTML, paste into the field, click OK.
All right. Somebody asks, what updates do you have coming up for the store and e-commerce? Somebody else asks what integrations are going to be coming up for email. So what can you tell us about the future of WebStarts? What do the people have to look forward to?
Wow. Yeah. Well, let's start with the store thing. So the first thing, and a lot of people have asked this, is the ability to sell product subscriptions. I think that will be a good add-on, and it's something that we're looking at in the next quarter on the roadmap. What was the next one? Was mail related? Was that what it?
They were asking about an integration for email. What can you say about email?
Email integration. Yeah, sure. So you probably want to integrate with your email marketing. So you probably have MailChimp or,
Fox, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever. They probably provide a form right now with code snippets. So you can just get the form from their site and then paste that form into your WebStarts page. And then you're going to put that data straight into their database and use it right away. So you don't really need to make it more complicated with an integration. That's why so many times when people say, what about an API integration or a webhook? I'm like, well, you're making it harder. I mean, so we don't like hard, we like easy. So we focus on easy. So it's easy just to put the code snippet for most of these things into the page right now today.
Great, thank you. Other future looking questions that have been asked. Do you have plans to increase CDN web speed? Somebody else asks about future plans for gamification in memberships.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Those are big asks. Well, first of all, the CDN. First of all, every account is running on Amazon CloudFront CDN, which is the fastest with the most nodes globally. So it's not getting any faster. And you'll see in the question and answer, so many people are like, I ran speed tests. The one thing you guys do is you fly, you're fast. And that's because we spend too much money on it. That's it. We give away too much there again. And then I guess the second question was, when are we going to gamify the membership area? And I would say,
or if there's like something that maybe they can connect. They said that they use gamification with their membership site on WordPress, and I think they use like a WordPress.
Yeah. I mean, gamification is awesome. I would love to gamify, our affiliate program. I'd love to gamify, building a website. I'd love to gamify a lot of things. It's not on our roadmap right now. I mean, it's something that we can take and look at the use case and put it on our feature request list. And then what we do is when people request features, we put them into a database, and then we review them and we discuss the logistics, because sometimes, there's business logistics. So we have to think, does it make business sense for us? And then a lot of times there's like, is it technically even feasible? You know what I mean? Which is a big one. And then of course, does this create a security risk? That's a big one for us. We're very big on security and privacy, like I said. And then I would say the other thing why you might not see your suggestion make the cut is because um, you're the only one who wants it. So there's kind of got to be some consensus.
Do you add scripts site-wide or per page?
Do we add scripts site-wide or per page? Okay, I think what you're trying to ask is, can you add a code snippet to the site head? And the answer is yes. And so if you go to the HTML code, edit HTML in the page editor, on the left there are 4 tabs. And one of those tabs is going to be site head, one's going to be page head. So let's say you want to add a script tag to a specific page, you would choose page head. If you wanted to cross your website like Google Analytics, choose site head.
Cool. Did WebStarts design its own email marketing platform?
Well, we're running on an API with the HTML email editor, but otherwise, yeah. So, the HTML email editor is running on a service called Unlayer, and we're using their API. That's just the part where you build your, visually, if you're creating an HTML email, and that's because we didn't want to bite off a whole deal where we created a drag and drop editor for email because there's so many variables with the way email's displayed on different clients. So anyway, that's just, no is the answer. I don't know.
Could I set up an affiliate program to sell my own products? And if not, is this feature in the plans?
That's good. I think that's something that we have kind of hidden in the back end. And I think it's just because we had it displayed and there were just too many questions from people that didn't understand it. And we're trying to narrow our focus on what we do, not expand it all the time. So it's something you may see pop up on the roadmap, but I would just not in the immediate future.
All righty. This is our last question for today, and it's a personal one. It's about you. Where are you located and how long have you been in business?
Well, let me give you my geo coordinates. Well, I mean, where am I located? We're located in Florida.
Okay. Oh,
that's where I'm located. So, we're just down here working on our tan and enjoying our freedom. We can go outside here and stuff. And and then I guess what was the other question was, where are we located and what?
How long have you been in business?
Oh, how long have we been in business? We've been in business since about 2006, so like 15 years.
Cool.
Been doing this too long. In fact, that's one of our big hurdles is you got to support legacy users. It's really easy to build something from scratch every few months with no users. You got millions of users. It gets difficult.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Adam, for walking us through everything. I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up here. Sumolings, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you have not already, you can go to appsumo.com/webstarts to redeem your code. It is starting at $59 for a lifetime deal. And of course, this is backed by AppSumo 60-day guarantee. So you can go ahead, get set up, play around with it and see how it works for you. I've definitely been hearing a lot of great things, including during this webinar. We've gotten, this is just amazing. Somebody said that WebStarts is so fast. So I guess you weren't lying about the speed. And it does look like a lot of people have been sending in their reviews and are raving about y'all because there is a 5-taco rating on WebStarts right now. Once you have redeemed your codes and you've been playing around with it for a little while, we would love to read your reviews as well. And of course, you can always leave your questions on the deal page. Thank you so much, Adam. And I hope you guys have a good one.
All right. Thank you. Pleasure's mine.